What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to take a look at the CPI. I'm going to talk a little bit more about inflation. And today is the day we'll receive the CPI numbers. I don't know if I'm going to put that in this video or not. I'm doing this video late at night, and so in the morning, that's when we'll get the CPI score. I might edit it into the video, or I just might do a separate video. But I have a lot of information to share with you guys today about the CPI, or the Consumer Price Index. So we're talking about inflation. And also, I want to take a look at the petition to increase Social Security benefits. We're going to look at that. And it's amazing how many signatures we received so far. So we're going to take a look at that. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And one more way to support the channel is by joining the memberships, where you'll get custom emojis as well as custom badges. Just hit the join button below. Okay, so let's go ahead. I want to take a look at this, and just so if you guys see this barcode, it's actually right there. The reason that barcode is there is you can turn your camera on and you can sign the petition. Okay, so I'm just saying that right now, so you're going to see that on the screen. But you can do that at any time. All you need to do is have your phone, turn the camera on, scan it, and then press the link button. It'll go right over to the change.org increase for Social Security signature petition. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the CPI, so the Consumer Price Index. We're going to take a look at the weights. Okay, so what I mean by that is there's a basket full of items. That's how they calculate the CPI score. That's how they calculate inflation. Okay, and so they're taking this basket of items and they're comparing this basket to last year, as well as they're comparing it month to month to see if the basket is getting more expensive or less expensive. And they're taking a certain percentage of the items that are in the basket. Now you're asking yourself, what's in the basket? That's what we're going to talk about right now. So let me just show you this here. And this is the information. I received this from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And so I want to, and this is back from 2023. Okay, so it's not 2024. We're in 2024. So we'll get that data next year. But when it comes down to it, 2023, that's the most recent data that we have. And just looking at the different categories, we'll go over the categories and the percentages. So food and beverage, this is something that I always talk about. And when I'm doing usually I'll let you guys know what the CPI score was. Sometimes I'll let you know what the CPIW score is. And the reason why these are important is because the CPIW is how they calculate the cost of living adjustment, so COLA, for people receiving Social Security benefits. So I like to go over this with you guys and show you guys, okay, this is what the CPI looks like. This is what the CPIW looks like. But they're only calculating July, August, and September for the cost of living adjustment. And so it's important for us to know what's going on when it comes to CPI. And it's not just important for people who are retired, people who are focused on the cost of living adjustment, retirements, even my pension. I get a cost of living adjustment every year. And so I'm always paying attention to this, because if you're receiving Social Security benefits, you want to know what the CPI score is, or you really want to know what the CPIW score is for July, August, and September, so you can figure out what it's going to look like when it comes to a cost of living adjustment for the next year. But it's also important for everyone else. Everyone is watching inflation, because right now you had the Federal Reserve talking about cutting interest rates. Well, it depends on how inflation numbers look. If the inflation is continuing to rise, which we saw the information last month, it was showing us 3.5%. If it goes up even higher than 3.5%, now we're looking at a situation where the Federal Reserve is looking at this and saying, I don't know if we can cut interest rates, because if we cut interest rates, it makes borrowing more desirable. If we make borrowing more desirable, then guess what? That means people are going to spend more. And if people spend more, then inflation will go up even higher. And so the Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates, at least they did last year, in order to cool off the economy. But we're starting to see an uptick again when it comes to inflation. And so if we continue to see that uptick, then the Federal Reserve might not drop interest rates. And if they don't drop interest rates, the stock market, they don't like that. Everyone is going to be looking at this and saying, look, I might not be able to buy a house. I might not want to buy cars. It really will slow the economy. And so the bottom line is everyone takes a look at the number when it comes to CPI scores. Okay, so Let me show you guys the weights here. And I found this very, very interesting because when we're looking at inflation overall, there's always that argument of, well, inflation is showing these numbers, but it seems like it's more expensive in certain categories. Well, you're probably right, because if that category isn't weighed as high as some of the other categories, well, it might kind of skew those numbers a little bit. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. So we had food and beverage. This is the one that I usually let you guys know about because we all have to eat. We go to the grocery stores, we go out to eat, things like that. So these numbers I like to focus on, but we have some other areas that are very important as well. But looking at food and beverages, approximately 14% of the CPI, right? And we're looking at food at home, that is about 8%, and then food away from home is 6%, okay? Now, understand what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about a shopping cart full of items. Now, what percentage of food and beverage is in that shopping cart? That's what we're looking at, okay? So we're not looking at the CPI score yet. We're just looking at the items that are in the shopping cart, okay? And what percentage of those items are in the shopping cart. So let's look at housing. And so housing is approximately 33%, which is a lot, okay? So housing, the cost of a house, the cost of rent, all of that, shelter as a whole, that's what we're focused on, okay? So 31% is shelter, and then utilities and fuel is 2%, okay? And then we have apparel. Apparel is 3%, so you see apparel is not really that big of a number when it comes to percentage. And that's just clothes, obviously clothes. Okay, transportation. Transportation is 15%. So that's a large chunk, 15%. Why is this important? It's not just important for the trucks here. You know, I have the, trucks bringing products to grocery stores and things like that. But also for private transportation, vehicles, fuel, etc., 13%. And then public transportation, 2%. Okay, let's look at medical care. Okay, so medical care is approximately 8%. Now, this is the CPI. Now, if we're looking at the CPIE, medical care is it's weighed heavier. And you know what I'll do? I'll do in the future, I'll do another video where I'll show you the weights of the different categories. So the CPIW, the CPIE, I'll show you those weights as well. That way we can get a better idea of when they're looking at COLA, looking at those numbers. Because understand this, you have the CPI numbers that come out. That's the standard CPI numbers. Then you have the CPIW. Those numbers are a little bit different, okay? Usually they're about the same. And then you have the CPIE. Those numbers are different, okay? And they're always around the same, and they kind of they move up and down according to the CPI, okay? CPI kind of dominates everything. But just understand that if you're looking at the CPIE, which I've done a video on this, so CPI for the elderly, they're different weight calculations. The weight measurements are different. So instead of 8% for medical care, it could be higher. I don't know the exact number. I'll have to look that up, and I'll come back with a video and I'll show you that. But I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, so looking at recreation, recreation is approximately 6%. Looking at education and communication, approximately 7%. So education would be 3% in this category, and then communication would be 4%. And you see these in the yellow that I'm focusing on here. They're just breaking it down for us. Now, not all categories will be broken down like this, but some of the categories, they did break them down. So that's why I'm sharing that with you. Okay, other goods and services, approximately 3%. And so personal care products and services, 2%. And then miscellaneous personal services is 1%. And so that's what we're looking at when it comes to the weights of the CPI. And so we will have that information later today. Like I said, I might put it in this video, or I might actually do a separate video where I break everything down when it comes to the food category. I like to look at the food category. And then we'll talk about some of the numbers that are rising. Okay, some of the areas that are rising. Different categories rise, some drop. And so we'll talk about that as well. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is the petition. Okay, now this is amazing. The fact that I did a video, yesterday, or maybe it was the day before yesterday, and I was talking about the CPI. The recording, for whatever reason, the audio didn't record. And so I was talking about some of this stuff, but I wasn't able to show you that in the video. And so I just showed you the overall signature count. And so we'll go back and we'll look at that signature count. It was at 1,384. That is today. and that was, I think it's risen, I think maybe 50 more signatures today than yesterday. And so for the week, 569 people participated or signed the petition. Now, there's some things I want to talk about here. First off, when it comes to this, if you guys can do me a favor, share this on Facebook, share this, you send emails to your family and friends. They don't have to be retired, okay? They don't have to be receiving Social Security benefits. You can send it to everyone because this impacts all of us, okay? I'm not currently receiving Social Security benefits, but in 15 years, I would hope to be able to receive Social Security benefits. And so this is going to impact all of us. And so that's why it's important not to just share it with people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits, but also share it with those people who they haven't started receiving Social Security benefits yet, because this will impact them as well. And if there's an increase, let's say there's an increase this year, that will still help them, because that increase, they'll be able to see that increase as well, okay? Even if it's 10 years down the road, they're still going to be able to receive that increase. Okay, so please share it. Now, I think Thursday I want to look at some of these videos, and I'll play some of these videos for you guys on Thursday. So if you guys don't remember, Thursday we do live stream, so we'll play some of those videos on the live stream. And please do, if you want to do, record a video, and I will play it on our live stream, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Okay, and one more thing that I wanted to point out here, and I think this is amazing here. Just when we're looking at the signature sources, so this is how people are finding the change.org petition. And you see overwhelming, this black line here is the QR code. So you guys are actually using that code, which I think is amazing. That's great. And please continue to do that. But however you find it, however you find the petition is great. But I just like the fact that you guys are watching my videos and you're clicking the QR code, and then you're signing that way. And then YouTube is 24%. So the vast majority of you guys are getting this from YouTube. So share my video as well. Share my video with other people, and then hopefully they will be signing the petition. Facebook is 6%, and then organic is 4%. So there's a lot of support right now. And the more the merrier. We're in a situation where I think I'll start sending out letters probably in June again. I paused. So I sent one letter to President Biden and one to former President Trump because they're both running for president. So that's the reason why I sent it to them. And I paused, and I didn't send it to my congressperson. I didn't send it to the senators in my state. I'm waiting until we get some more signatures. And so hopefully in June we'll have 2,000, maybe 3,000 signatures. And at that point, then I'll send those letters out to those Congress people. And then I'm hoping that you guys would do the same. So when you guys are sending these letters out, I have a template that's already set up, and I'll post that in the comment section. It'll be pinned at the very top. So you'll have a link to the petition, and you'll have a link to the template, and you can start sending out letters. And then link this change.org petition, just saying that, look, there's support for an increase for Social Security benefits, and here is the link to the change.org petition. So you can link that to your email. And I highly recommend sending an email. I used to say, yeah, you should send a letter, just type it up and send it. I say type it up. Well, type it up on your computer, send it. But I think it's much faster to send an email, and when you send it by email, it's faster for you as well as it's faster to get a response. And that's what I'm concerned with. I want to get those responses as soon as possible, and then I'll read those responses over the air so you guys can see it. I'll probably do them on the live streams. We'll just read what these politicians are saying. Now, we did this last year. We did it in September, October of last year. I read some of the letters that I received, but they did not address a Social Security increase. I was asking about a Social Security increase, but they didn't address that. And so I'm hoping that these letters will actually address it. Now, I haven't received a letter yet from President Biden or from former President Trump, so we'll have to see if maybe they'll be, I'm sure we're in full swing campaign mode, so I would hope that they'll send a response, but I can imagine they're probably pretty busy right now. Plus, former President Trump is busy with his court case as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the CPI score. And I like to do this because it gives us an indication of where they're going to go when it comes to the cost of living adjustment, so COLA, for people receiving Social Security benefits. And we also get to see how inflation is doing. Are prices getting higher? Are they going lower? And so let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is good news. This is actually good news. The CPI for April was a 0.3% increase, okay? Now for March, we saw a 0.4% increase. And then for February, we also saw a 0.4% increase. So we're seeing this come back down, which is good. It's slightly, it's a slight tick down, but it's still very good news because it looks like the hope is that inflation will continue to go back down, okay? Okay, so let's take a look at some of the categories here. And I like to do this. I like to start off with food because food is always, that's a necessity. We need to have that. So first off, just looking at overall 3.4%, that's what we were talking about, the COLA year to date. And that was that 0.3% increase in April. Now, looking at food here. So all food items unchanged, 0.0%, okay? And that's a 2.2% increase year to date. And then we're looking at food at home. Look at food at home. Food at home is actually down. So that's good. It's a minus 0.2%. So that means the cost of food items at the grocery store are coming down slightly, but they're coming down. So that's good news. And that's a 1.1% increase year to date. And then food away from home is a 0.3% increase. And then year to date, it's 4.1%. And so I just wanted to look at the food categories. I'll do another video where we talk a little bit more about this and do more detail, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick little update to let you guys know what the CPI score looked like for April. And this is good. Let's hope it continues to go down. Now we know we're approaching the summer. Once we hit the summer, like when summer's in full swing, people are going to be traveling more. So gas prices will probably go up. So we're going to see some fluctuation when it comes to CPI scores as a result of that. And so we do need to anticipate that. But when it comes to CPI, this is good news. This is what we wanted to see it drop. We wanted to see it drop even more. Obviously, we want to get inflation down to around 2%. And that's at least what the Federal Reserve wants to do. But we can kind of take a breath now, and the hope is that later on this year they'll be able to drop interest rates, and if they can do that, then it will make people happy because they can start buying houses again and buying cars and things like that and getting those lower interest rates. So that is something that people are looking forward to. I think everybody's watching this right now. Hopefully the stock market will do well today because the CPI score, in my opinion, it looks pretty good. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one.